This is the movement. The movement.
No, I've never had any interest in having children. I used to think I wanted to have a child with a partner, but it just never worked out. So I'm fine just being an aunt.
Okay.
I mean, I have 7 nephews and 1 niece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
7 nephews?
And actually, one of my nephews is transgender, so now
really?
I have 6 nephews and 2 nieces.
And 2 nieces. How's that been?
It's fine. His parents are really dealing with it really well. He's young.
How old is he?
He'll be 6.
How old is she?
She will be 16 in August.
Okay.
So she's 15.
Did you guys have a feeling?
Oh, I've known he was gay since he was
Okay.
a little boy.
Was it always obvious with you?
It was because when he was, I think he was 4, and his brother was 2. They lived in Dallas, Texas, and their mother got put on bed rest. She was pregnant, and she got put on bed rest for the rest of the pregnancy.
Okay.
And my brother was always traveling for work, so they asked me if I could come out for a couple of weeks and take care of my nephews.
Okay.
And the older nephew, the transgender one, every day after school, he would take off all his clothes and take towels and drape them around his clothes.
How old was he?
He was 4.
Okay.
They drape them around his body like dresses, and one for his hair.
Okay.
And be walking around in his mother's heels
Okay.
around the house every day.
Okay.
He did this every day, so I was like, all right.
So you knew. Did everyone else know?
I
Or
don't
have a
know.
feeling?
I think they probably had a feeling.
Okay, because
You know.
obviously he wasn't just doing it when you were around.
No,
Right.
I guess. I mean, he just, he was always effeminate. He always liked girl things. And like
Okay.
he was always like, yeah, I like girl things.
So why isn't that the conversation? Why isn't just the male energy liking or being feminine? Why is it a male energy saying that I'm in the wrong body?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know
Well,
what
then,
his...
okay, so then for you, why is it, well, no, not for you, because you don't think you're in the wrong body, you just like women. So,
I like women, but I'm a masculine
Right.
woman. I have no
Right.
desire to be male. I'm just
Right.
a masculine woman,
Okay.
yeah.
And so were you always even?
I was
when
always like
that's
that
it?
my whole
Okay.
life. I was always the kid that you just kind of knew was gay. Probably like my nephew. I was just the
Okay.
gay one. It was just very clear that I was the gay kid.
He was the gay
I was the
kid.
gay girl. I was just,
So
you know.
one of the reasons why I invited you to the show, is because you're gay. You
That's
know?
okay. That's fine.
But no, not simply because you're gay. I think that what I've learned so far about doing this show, and even before, which is the motivating drive to this show, is that we're all the same.
Okay.
We all go through similar issues. We all go through similar problems. We all go through similar joys, and
Okay.
especially as women. And I used to
Okay.
think that our issues or our dilemmas was a black thing, was a black woman issue.
Okay.
And then I started obviously being allowed to be open. I know what it was. I started watching Girls on HBO.
Yeah. Okay.
And the things they were doing in their 20s was same things that I was doing in my 20s.
Okay.
And it helped kind of break the barrier of me thinking that my stuff was just my stuff. That just was my sisters went through. Because at one point it was just all about helping my sisters. And then when I was introduced and knowing that, okay, white women go through these same things.
Sure.
Then I met Asian chicks who go through the same things. Now you start to see all these promos of Indian women and Middle Eastern women and Albanian women, you know, all speaking about, you know, being a woman.
Being a young woman, sure.
You know, so with the stigma being that we're different, then, you know, the thing is it a stigma also attached? Well, that lesbian women are different because you're still a woman. So you're going through the same issues, the same, I don't know, the same bad decisions, same good decisions, because you're still a woman.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't, it's a distinction, like homosexuals are their own people, you know? And I wanted to...
But I think at the end of the day, like you're saying, basically, people are people.
Right.
You know, and whether you're gay or not, you're still going to... And also at that age, in your early 20s, you're all going through the same things of learning what it's like to date someone, learning what it's like to have sex regularly, for whether you're gay or straight.
Exactly.
You know.
Relatable, whether it was the women who dealt with solitary confinement, whether it was the women like myself who needed to think about how free I am when I carry. You know what I'm saying? And thinking like, oh, it's nothing. And something as simple as it's nothing can be something else. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
what it turned into for me.
You know what I mean?
That's what
so
it turned into,
when I saw someone who unveiled and shared their truth, I was like, okay, she's someone I can invite. Because one, she's a stigma, you know, and she's not, because she's a person like we all are.
Sure.
And you know, she's going through stuff that people go through, bad decisions, good decisions, you know, and shameful decisions. Because even in your telling your story, a part of it is, you know, you come from a somewhat, you know, black influential family. You know, who wants to?
Yeah, you don't want to tell people you were in jail. That's not something, you know, it's like the thing, like what Chris Rock said, you know, there's black people and there's niggas. And my black family is very black bourgeois. So, like, you know, knowing that there was a family member that was in prison, I think there was a lot of shame around that.
But you could have kept that quiet because you got out.
Yeah.
Y'all as a family would have dealt with it.
Yeah.
And you would have learned your lesson.
I did, yeah.
You know, and then it would have been the end of it.
But I think it's important to share stories like this so people are aware of how, one thing, how women are treated when they're incarcerated, how people of color in general are treated when we're incarcerated. And I think I just wanted people to be aware of what's going on, specifically with women and incarceration.
So this happened 7 years ago.
Yes,
Do you mind
7
if
years.
I ask how old you are?
I'm 44.
So you're 44. 7 years ago when this was happening, do you feel like you got a light bulb moment while you were in solitary confinement? Did you feel like it happened once you got home? What lesson did you take out of that you wish you knew at that 7 years ago?
I guess the because, you know, I was traveling with hashish and I was traveling internationally. I wish I didn't have it on my person. Like, I wish I didn't have it on my body. I wish I'd put it in my bag, because then it probably would have gone through and I would have had no problems. I wish I'd done that.
Simply to avoid incarceration, or the experience, like,
the whole thing, the incarceration, the experience of being incarcerated.
But it gave you a story.
It definitely gave me a story. It's definitely something to talk about. I mean, it's mostly because I don't think that people, I kind of don't like that people aren't allowed to travel with, like, marijuana, because I don't even consider it a drug.
Right.
You know, it's a medicine. You know, so I don't like, you know, so like hashish or any sort of, you know, marijuana, I just think people should be able to move around
But
with.
we can't.
No, we can't.
Right.
So that's the real issue. And,
but a lot of us do.
A lot of us do.
Especially with small amounts, because I know, again, you know, I didn't mind sharing my truth. I got shunned on the mic when I asked you the question, but I know I travel. and I
Sure.
travel,
Yeah, and that's
with
and like
and
you
I
said,
always
it was,
think,
and that's the thing. It's not like I was a fucking drug
right.
dealer. You know, I wasn't a drug dealer. I wasn't a drug trafficker. I was a recreational
Right.
drug user.
Did that change once you got home?
No, I continued to smoke pot.
Okay.
No, I smoke pot.
Okay.
For me, it's very medicinal. It helps me
Okay.
chill out. My life is very stressful. It helps me relax and just chill.
With being a part of such a bourgeois family, and maybe not even, maybe that's just the world's terminology of
Sure. My family.
your family. Is everyone smoking or smokers? How
No,
did
really,
that,
I'm really like the only one.
Right.
My
So are you the black sheep?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I have two brothers and I have a sister, and my younger brother smokes weed.
Okay.
He's if I'm 44, he's 41.
Okay.
Or he'll be 41 next month.
Okay.
But he smokes pot.
So what are your parents
We
like?
all four of us drink though.
Okay, but were your parents like, oh my God?
No, because
Okay.
there's my parents were black revolutionaries.
Okay. And how was that? How was the fact that you grew up in a 2-parent household, and are they still married?
My mom died last year, but
Oh,
they
wow.
were
Okay.
married until her death. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool growing up in a 2-parent household, and my parents were really young. So when my mom had me, she was 21, and my dad.
But where do you fall in the 4?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, okay.
So my mom was 21,
Okay.
and my dad was 26.
Okay.
So they were very young parents.
Okay.
So there was definitely a feeling when I was growing up that even though they were my parents, that we were all growing up together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
I don't have a jacket on, but
pretty cold.
a little chilly. A little bit.
But yeah, that was really fun. Like that, my parents were so young and spirited, and just very much a part of our lives. Like we
Okay.
had dinner together every single night at 7:00. That's
Okay.
what time dinner
Up
was.
until what age?
Until I went to college.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're the oldest of 4.
Yeah, my siblings are also. I'm
Wow.
44. So my youngest sibling, my sister, she'll be 40 in December.
So then, how does don't fit necessarily the stereotypical, black family, or maybe you do, or are you offended that people say that you don't? And you grew up in Harlem, like you said.
I mean, it was
revolution.
always when I was growing up. People always
You're not
said
a statistic.
no. My
your parents
peop-
were
the analogy that people always made was the Cosby Show.
right.
Because it was the 80s. So like when the Cosby Show.
And don't y'all live in a brownstone too?
Yeah, we do. My dad owns the brownstone. So like when the Cosby Show started, I was 12.
Okay.
So my siblings I was 12, 11, 9, and 8. So we were the Cosby Show.
Okay.
And ironically enough, years later, my mother worked as a writer on the Cosby Show.
Okay. But in being that type of family, was that your network? Like, were there the block? Was it other families like that? Were you guys the only family
so there was
growing up?
other black families,
Right.
definitely, because it
Because
was.
that's really my point. It's like you're not so abnormal because.
Oh,
but
no. Where I
did you
grew-
grow up? They were.
Yeah, there were
two-parent? Yeah.
there were lots of families on my block that were. There were a lot of kids on the. I grew up on 147th between Convent and St. Nicholas.
Okay.
So just a block in New York City, but on that block there were lots of kids, and there were lots of two-parent households.
Okay.
It was the norm.
So,
But there were also single-parent
But,
households too.
but does it offend you then that the image of of black folks is that we all come from broken homes or
I mean, it doesn't offend me.
We're
I mean,
not
I see
educated.
where people. I mean, look at what the images that are projected out into
Right.
the world. I mean, it's like you were talking about gay people and trying to figure out where they fit in. There's no visibility of us at all, especially black lesbian women. So there's no visibility, and there's no visibility of real. I think it's changing dramatically,
Okay.
especially with Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
Like black people in general are just very much in the forefront of a lot of what's going on.
Did that make you want to get into writing or get into film to tell more
I
of
got
our
into
stories or your stories?
I got into film because I wanted to tell my stories. My mother's a writer.
Okay.
So I really just, on some level, I'm certain it must have been, subliminal. I decided I
Okay.
wanted to be a writer too.
But are your other siblings following in now? Did they choose
No,
other
they
lifestyles?
have my brother owns a web design company. My sister is a certified financial planner, and my other brother's a teacher.
So you're the only one in the arts.
I'm the only one, yeah.
Okay, and how has that been?
What do you mean? Like my career?
Yeah.
I've had a very successful career.
Okay.
I have. I moved to LA, UCLA film, and then I hated it, and I came back to New York, and then I got into the American Film Institute, so I moved back to LA, and I sold my first TV show my second week of school at AFI. So I've had a lot of success. I've sold a lot of TV shows. I've written a couple of movies. 9 grams have been very well received. I'm really excited about it. It's about my tale of incarceration in Istanbul, Turkey, during the summer of 2009. And I think the thing I love, and the play hasn't actually come out. The plan is for the play to come out in the winter of 2017. So far we've had 2 staged readings in New York City, which were all very successful, and I think, and very cathartic for me. It was incredibly cathartic. And also just an easy way to just tell all my friends and family what happened, how it happened, and what happened when I was in prison and what the experience was like. But I think the most exciting thing about it is that people, knowing that they were going to a play about incarceration and someone being in solitary confinement, I think people were like, what is this going to be about? Dank, But people have said that they were surprised at how funny it was.
I was too.
And how much they enjoyed it. So that makes me happy, and that makes me know.
Well, singing Frank Sinatra,
I sing and dance in the play. I do. I sing and dance. I do.
Another thing we wouldn't necessarily expect from a black woman.
Yeah, singing Frank Sinatra. I sing Michael Jackson in the play.
So solitary confinement.
Yes.
Without giving away the play, because we want people to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably preventative.
Can you I don't know if it's even possible, but can you describe in 2 sentences what being in solitary confinement was like?
Depressing. It's very depressing.
How did the 24 hours, because you think about, what would you do?
Well, the thing about it, that's the thing too, is what happens in situations like this, which is probably what happened with that young man. What's his name, Robin? The one from the Khalif Browder, is that you're sitting in jail, and he was sitting in jail. Khalif Browder was sitting in the largest jail in the United States. I was sitting in prison in Istanbul, Turkey, and what he and I had in common was that we didn't know when we were going to be able to leave. So that is very scary. Like, if you know how long you're going to be in jail, you have okay, this is when my shit ends. But the whole time I was there, and the whole time he was there, he had no idea when we'd be able to leave. And that's the part that really drives you crazy. That's the part that really makes you feel like you're going insane when you're in a situation like that.
Do you believe in God?
Of course, especially after that. Of course.
Do you think that helped?
Of course, you had to believe in something.
Okay.
You had to believe in something just to be able to wake up and just get through the next day. I definitely believe in God. I've believed in God since I was a little child.
Was it taught in your home?
It was. We had to say grace. We went to Sunday school, but I'm convinced Sunday school was just an afternoon for my parents to be by themselves and not have their children at home. And my aunt was the Sunday school teacher too. So, but yeah, I've always believed in God. I believe in something. I see God in, trees and in my friends and anyone I see walking down the street. I see it everywhere. And my dog, Fluffy. Yeah, I definitely believe in God.
So, as a person who has such a parenting nature, you have a pet, you love your nephews, nature. Yeah, parenting. What did you ever feel something was wrong because you didn't have a desire to have children?
No, I
feel like something's wrong if they don't want to.
I was like, fuck that. I do not need my body going through all that bullshit. I was not interested at all, ever since I was a child. It did not seem appealing. It did not seem like anything I wanted to do.
Did people ever make you feel guilty about that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But I know my mother wanted me to have a child child. My mother always wanted me to have a child, and I wanted to have a child too, but I just figured I would end up, at first I was trying, you're a young person, you date people, you're like, oh, maybe we'll be together, and then you break up. And then you date people, and you're like, oh, maybe we'll be together, and then you break up. And then you reach a certain age, and you're like, all right, so I'm getting older, and my girlfriends are getting younger. So maybe one of those, maybe they'll have a baby, and I could be the other parent. But, it just hasn't happened. I don't have any guilt about it. I feel happy to be an aunt. I was a step parent to two girls several years ago. I had a girlfriend for many years, and she had two children, and it was fun being a step parent. I am. You're right. I'm very good at parenting. I do what you're supposed to do. Like the other day, my brother had to pick my two nephews. They are 2 and 4. These are the kids I take to school every day. My brother picked them up from school, and right outside, and it was after school, and outside of the after school, there is always an ice cream truck. So my brother got them some ice cream, and he sent my sister an image of the boys with their ice cream cones, and she said, did you feed them dinner? And he said, no, they wanted ice cream. So I don't do things like that. Like, I'm actually a good aunt. I feed them. In fact, the other day I fed them, and then after we went to the store and got some ice cream. So it's fun. It's fun. Parenting is fun. I think that one of the wonderful things about kids is that you could see time passing very clearly. Like, this little boy was 2 days old 2 years ago, and now he's 2. And you see that, and you're like, wow, you see life just moving along, and it's exciting to be a part of that. I find it very exciting, and I find it rewarding as
But
well.
from a distance, when you can drop them off in their house.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it's from a distance, but I mean, it's like I'm around them a lot.
Right. Okay.
I'm not there, I don't live there, but I'm around them a lot. And
So then you could believe in the village.
oh, definitely. It takes a village to raise a child. And me and my siblings, even though my parents were together, there were other people, aunts, uncles, family members that were definitely a part of raising us to be the people that we ended up inevitably being.
So do you believe that that's something that should be, do you see it being repeated with your siblings?
Oh yeah, definitely. The village, yeah, it takes a village to raise, definitely. And also the parents need some help.
Right.
They just need some help. It's hard, and I see it, how hard it is, especially with my sister being a single parent. I know she never wanted to be, but then, her fiance passed, so, that, sucked. But, what you gonna do? All you can do is be there for them and help them out. Help her out. That's what I do. Every day.
And I'm sure it's appreciative.
It is. She's very appreciative.
Yeah.
She very appreciates me.
Because, like you said, they
No, I was like your daughter. Like, I hated school. I'm so surprised I went to graduate school.
Wow.
But I hated school. But I understood that it was what was supposed to do and was expected of me. And it's what my parents did. I used to wish that it was the 50s. That's what I, like when I was a kid, when I was graduating from high school, I wished it was the 50s and that college wasn't like mandatory. But by the time I went to college in 1990, it was the only thing expected of me. And I was like, what else am I going to be doing if I'm not at school?
You come from the cookie crumble, Huxtable type family where, hey, we come to lie, everything's good, black power, black love, our life is grand, what are you talking, which is also cool because we got these images that everybody from Harlem or everybody from the hood is broken or the Bushy family is too busy that they can't understand the comment. Like, it's all these disconnections.
Sure.
When, you could probably tell me some basic stories in the household that might mirror mine, even though I didn't grow up in a two-family. Or maybe not.
I mean, it was very cookie cutter. But then also, there was the 80s and there was drug addiction, and
Harlem.
yeah, and in my household, there was a problem with a parent. It was a real problem, and it lasted for years, but then it went away, and then
Did it just go away, or was it work
No,
involved?
it just went. It was my mother, and she always, when she was working, because she didn't work, and she didn't start working until I was like 11. So she was working in Hollywood. So she was in that world where drugs are encouraged. You know, where you're sitting there and you're, with your colleague doing drugs. So that was a big issue at one point
How?
in all of
In
our
what
lives
way?
because she had a drug problem.
Okay.
And it affected her parenting, it affected, the people who were in her house, and who we were around. And, it was
So
a problem.
did something, as from what you know of, did something happen to her to be like,
I don't know. My dad must have said something or threatened something because it just kind of went away. It just kind of went away, yeah.
Do you think that the support team of having a husband, like, also maybe helped her get out of it? Because she wasn't alone fighting this battle.
No, I mean, I'm sure it must have to some extent. I mean, my parents knew each other. They met when my mother was 14 and my dad was 19. So they
do
knew.
you think that your mom only had your dad?
Well, she always said that my dad was her first sex, but not her only sex.
Oh.
So,
Okay. And what about your dad? Because that's still family.
I don't know. I mean, my dad was 19 years old. I'm sure he had
right,
some
okay,
sex
he was
with some other women
Okay.
before my mother. But my mother always said that he was her first sex, but not her only sex.
Okay.
My mother also told me I was named after a lesbian that had a crush on her in college.
Really? Wow, that's interesting.
It is interesting.
And then you are a lesbian.
And then I am a lesbian.
The loss of your mother.
Yes.
Because a year is yesterday.
Yeah, my mom died March 2015.
Okay.
Basically she had a heart attack.
Okay.
She was in the dentist's office.
So wait, she wasn't sick.
No, she wasn't sick.
Okay. So she was suddenly taken away.
Yeah, she was in the dentist's office and then she was talking to the dental assistants and all of a sudden she started like shivering and then they had to get the thing out and bring her back to life. And they during the course of heading to the hospital from the dentist's office to the hospital, her heart stopped 3 times. So then she was put in medically induced a coma, which she never came out of. And
Oh my goodness. So that was very abrupt. How was your family dealing?
well, we have each other. I mean, I was
Right.
at the time I was living in Los Angeles,
Okay.
and I moved back to New York to mourn with my family, and I've been back ever since.
How's your dad?
He's okay. It's hard. Me and my siblings have encouraged him to go to group counseling or
Okay.
therapy, which he's been doing, which we're
Okay.
really excited about. But it's hard. I mean, my mother was a larger than life personality. She just was very Hollywood and just larger than life and very funny person. And we all miss her. I mean, it's hard to be in the house and just not hear her voice. She was always talking, constantly. So it's very strange to go in the house and it's just quiet. And my dad is just sitting there watching his fucking. What he does get to do is he gets to decide what's on the television now, and he just be fucking watching those cowboy movies and TV shows, basically. No more Jeopardy and it was always Jeopardy and Pat Sajak every night, but that's
So
his.
now because you're the oldest.
Yes.
So they say that you don't officially become a woman.
It's funny.
Until your mom
Mother dies.
passes
Yeah,
away.
I've heard that. I was always kind of excited to experience that, that you don't feel free until your mother passes, and I can't say that that's how I feel. I always identified with that. I always did about when your mom dies. That's when you're really a woman, but I don't really feel that way. I feel like my mom died, and I'm really sad about it. And it's really just that simple. And I'm just going through life trying to understand how to live life without her opinion, without her voice, without her presence. I know she's with me, and I talk to her a lot, but it's not the same as just having her, just constantly talking. So.
This is the movement.